Hello and welcome. You're watching Market Fatafat with me, Snehisha, and with me is my co-anchor Ankita Saxena. Now, this is a show where we'll take you through everything that's buzzing in the market within a minute flat, and we'll tell you about all of those stocks in under a minute. So, well, it's an exciting show. So, stay tuned with us for the entire course of the show. And Ankita, let's talk about the markets because they look to be steady as of now. They're holding on to the gains. So, tell us what's happening with the market.
That's right, Snehi. In fact, it was a day of consolidation today. After Nifty hit scaled its new life highs, we were consolidating, and in fact, Nifty did manage to recover, and it was near its highest trading point of the day. It's actually 20 odd points away from the record highs. Now remember, the record levels were 22,186. Nifty and Nifty Bank are hovering around the day's high point. The banks are really cushioning the markets. They have been cushioning the market since morning, with HDFC Bank contributing over 50 points in the Nifty's up move and around 250 points in Nifty Bank's up move. After, of course, the management came out and said that the focus is on the EPS growth rather than the loan growth, and the focus is going to be on profitability. So HDFC Bank is firing away in trade today. Kotak Mahindra Bank on the back of the top management rejig, Axis, ICICI Bank, all aiding the Nifty. Benchmark indices are outperforming the broader markets. The broader markets are in the red. Now, the best performing sectors are Nifty Media is the best performing sector. Of course, the Zee Sony merger is back on the table now after a huge long saga that went on there. Those stocks are in focus. Nifty Realty is another one that is doing well in trade. Lodha, Godrej Properties, DLF, all of them buzzing in trade. Nifty IT is the worst performing sector. Nifty Pharma and Auto are also on the back foot today. We do see a lot of buying coming in the mid-cap space in the logistics stocks. If you look at the Snowman Logistics, All Cargo, Gateway Logistics, we do see some buying coming there, and of course in the sugar stocks as well. So net, that's the roundup of the market. Snehi, steady for now.
Well, steady for now. Let's hope this momentum continues. So that's how the markets are shaping up right now. But with that, let me introduce our expert that we have on the show today. We're joined by Osho Krishan of Angel One on the technicals and on the research. We are joined by our group of researchers, Ansh as well as Ashesha. Thank you so much, all of you all, for taking the time out and joining us today. With that, let me start with the first stock, and that's Deepak Fertilizer. Now, this one has been a buzzer in today's trading session because the company has entered into a long-term supply agreement for liquefied natural gas, that's LNG, with Equinor ASA of Norway. That stock is up 5% as we speak, was up 7 to 8% at one point in the day, but is off the day's high, but still holding on to steady gains. Now, with this tie-up, Deepak Fert strengthens its value chain with an attractive long-term LNG contract to solidify its value chain from gas to ammonia to various downstream fertilizers, industrial chemicals, and mining chemicals as well. Now, this end-to-end tie-up shall establish a strong long-term foundation for all of Deepak Fertilizers product segments, and this agreement is for annual supplies of up to 0.65 million tons over a period of 15 years, which will begin in 2026. Now, the LNG will be delivered to the west coast of India as well, and Deepak Fertilizers is also at an advanced stage of tying up the regasification terminal with the gas pipeline grid connectivity to its plant's doorstep that's already in place. The LNG agreement also encourages the companies to further collaborate on petrochem feedstocks and strategize decarbonization pathways in the future. So, well, that's a big positive coming in for Deepak. For this long-term tie-up is being taken well by the markets, and stock up 5% as we speak. But Ankita, let's talk about the stock of the day and the debut of probably this entire year so far.
That's
you
correct.
could call it.
Vior Steel, absolutely.
That.
What a stellar debut on the bourses today, listed at a gains of 181% premium over the IPO price. The stock opened at 425 rupees on the NSE and 421 rupees on the BSE against the issue price of 151. Now, the bumper listing surpassed the analyst expectations, often 86 to 92% premium. Well, ahead of the listing, also the shares were trading at a 92% premium in the grey market, but that has surpassed all expectations. Now, the issue had received a strong response from investors, getting subscribed 320 times. The HNI category remained at the forefront. The buying was 770 times of the allotted quota. Retail investors picked up 200 times the portion set aside for them, and while the part reserved for the qualified institutional buyers of the QIBs was booked 191 times. So a stellar debut coming in for Vior Steel. Currently, it is powering away in trade, so that stock is in focus today.
Alright, Ankita, with that, let's also take a look at what's buzzing on the technicals. And Osho, let's come to you. And for your first stock, that's AB Capital. Now, this stock has not done much today, intraday as well. When you look at it on a YTD basis, 11% uptick coming here. So, what are you spotting on the technicals? Where do you see this stock headed?
Very good afternoon, everyone. Well, talking about AB Capital, then yes, in the recent period, the counter was into corrective phase. But the positive development that can be seen in the recent times, that this counter has seen a very strong resurgence from the zone of approximately 160-65 odd levels and is currently hovering above all the exponential moving averages. Even if I have to say it's above the 200-day SMA, which is a very strong development on the technicals front. Positive sign is that it has came out from the lower end and has breached above the sloping trend line. So that's a positive development, and from here onwards one can expect the upward movement to continue. Approximately 190-195 should be the first or immediate hurdle. Once it surpassed those zones, then we can expect 200 plus kind of a target in this counter.
Alright, moving on. Ashesha, Biocon is a stock you picked out for us. It is knocked down in trade today, apparently on the back of a brokerage note. Do take us what the brokerage note says.
Well, yes, the stock has recovered from the lowest point of the day, but despite that, sitting on with cuts of nearly 2.5%. And yes, as you mentioned, it is on the back of a downgrade that has come in from Jefferies. Jefferies has gone ahead and downgraded the stock to underperform, and they've revised their target price to 250. The stock currently trades at about 283 odd levels, indicating 13 to 15% downside from the current market price. They say they see continued challenges for Biocon in calendar year 2024. The risk reward currently is unfavorable in their opinion. They say earnings downgrades will continue due to lack of new launches by the company. As far as Syngene's performance is concerned, they see weak 2025 outlook due to lack of major manufacturing contract wins. And as far as free cash flow generation is concerned, that too is expected to be on the weaker side with high leverage, which might hurt the stock. So on the back of this downgrade report that has come in from Jefferies, the stock is knocked down nearly 2.5% lower in trade as we speak. Alright, that was the fundamentals on Biocon, but let's talk about the technicals once again. Osho, I'm going to come to you for Grasim. Now, this stock, when you look at it intraday, very flat. When you look at it on a YTD basis, as flat as it can get. But on a 52-week basis, it's done a 33% uptick. That's what it's seen. So, what are you spotting on the technicals? Any further upside left over here?
This counter has been in a positive movement. If we see the recent 5 to 6 months of a time frame, it has been in the cycle of higher highs, higher lows. Currently, it is situated at a breakout levels. Approximately the sustenance above the 2200 mark can provide a very strong thrust to this counter. On short-term perspective, 2350, 2400 can be seen as the immediate target. Overall, we are witnessing a kind of consolidation breakout for this counter. So we are expecting that in the coming period, there can be some strong upward movement that can be seen. For short-term perspective, 2350, 2400 is the target. But once it breaches those zones, then we can expect a very strong move in Grasim.
Alright, moving on to another buzzer, JSW Infra. Ansh, this stock is powering away up 3% right now. Tell us, what is the news flow that's powering the trade?
Yes, that's right. The stock is up over 3% because they have received letter of intent from Jawaharlal Nehru Port Authority for equipping operation, maintenance and transfer of additional liquid cargo berth LB3 and LB4 at Jawaharlal Nehru Port through public-private partnership mode. Also, if we see the chart, the stock seems to have given a breakout from upward sloping resistance and it has touched a 2-month high level as well. Also, it trades above the key DMA level. So, for those reasons, the stock will be in focus.
Alright, well, let's talk about the technicals once again. And Osho, what are you spotting on the technicals when it comes to Zomato? Because what an up move that stock has seen from close to $50, this time last year to 160 right now. It's seen a crazy and a stellar run up. So do you think this run up is going to continue, or do you see some amount of cooling off now?
Well, see, overall, there are two kind of developments that can be seen in this counter. The first one, that it has formed a very strong rounding bottom formation. And on weekly basis, if it sustains above the zone of 155, which is also a bullish gap on the daily time frame, then from here onwards, one can expect the upward movement to continue on the basis of a rounding bottom breakout formation. On the monthly time frame, this is the first time that the counter has surged above the 150 zone, and if it sustains above the same for the whole month, then from here onwards, obviously there will be uptrend that can be seen. But looking at the recent vertical movement, yes, there will be some kind of blips or profit bookings that can be happening in this counter. but on the lower end, 150-55 should be acting as the support zone. On the higher end, immediately 175 to 80 is the target, but once it breaches those zones, then even we can target for 200 plus kind of a target.
All right, with that, it's time for a quick breather. You don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back. You're tuned into Market Fatafat, and we'll continue with the momentum of telling you all the stocks that are buzzing in trade today on the back of news flow and on the back of technicals. Well, the next pick is Gateway District Partners, Snowman Logistics. Now, I did mention in the beginning of the show that there's a lot of buying coming in the logistics space. Now, just look at the stocks. Snowman is up 11%, Gateway District Parks up 3% in trade. But it's coming on the back of a news flow. The fact that, Gateway has made an acquisition of 8 lakh equity shares of Snowman Logistics via open market purchase. And on the back of this news flow, both the stocks are firing away in trade. In fact, they're aiding the logistics sector as well. So that's the news coming in on Snowman and Gateway that are firing away in trade today.
All right, both those stocks holding up smartly in trade, but let's talk about technicals. Osho, I'm going to come back to you. Let's talk about SBI Card, because this stock has been in consolidation for quite some time, down 12% in the last 6 months as well. So what's your outlook over here? What are you spotting on the charts?
See, overall, as you have mentioned, the counter is into a corrective phase on a longer duration. But in the recent period, we have seen a consolidation breakout on a very short-term time frame, or even a double bottom kind of a breakout on the higher end. So from here onwards, we are expecting that it should continue its upsurge towards the zone of 770, 780 on immediate basis. So that should be the target or resistance that can be seen in the short duration. Once it breaches the zone of 780, then from there onwards, we can see some kind of a strong rebound or resurgence in this counter towards the zone of 820 or 840. Even on the downside is very much limited towards 710 and 700 odd levels. So from risk reward point of view, this counter looks very promising, and one should definitely try to accumulate this and gauge the momentum in the coming period.
Accumulate stance that's coming in from Osho on SBI Card. Let's shift back to the fundamentals and talk about NBCC. Now, this stock was up and away in today's trading session, has lost all of those gains, but still continues to hold to the green. Now, this morning, the company reported that it has won a work order worth 560 crore rupees from the National Institute of Technology, Sikkim. Yesterday, also, the company has secured 3 significant work orders worth a cumulative 369 odd crore rupees. These contracts were secured through the regular course of business. The first project pertains to the Rani Lakshmibai Central Agricultural University in Jhansi and the upcoming campus in Morena and Khajuraho as well. The project is valued at 331.9 crores. Now, NBCC also won a tender to construct a single court complex and residential quarter in both Adilabad district, Telangana. This project is valued at 12 crores, and the third project involving the renovating and furnishing project of the ICAI Bhavan in Noida, UP, awarded by the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, that is valued at roughly 25 crore rupees. So all in all, over a course of 2 days, the company has managed to bag work orders worth 929 crore rupees, and on the back of that positive news flow, the stock is up 1.5% as we speak.
Well, coming to you then, Osho, stock of the day perhaps HDFC Bank. This stock is in fire today. In fact, it's contributing 50 points to Nifty's up move and around 250 points to Nifty Bank's up move. But that's coming on the back of what the management had to say. On the technical side, what are you penciling in? Is it time for the elephant to start dancing now?
Definitely. If I have to say, HDFC have seen its bottom in the recent period, because if we have to coincide the recent swing, the last 2 swing lows of HDFC, then it has been colliding with it, and from there onwards, it has seen a strong resurgence. So from here onwards, definitely one can expect a good move in HDFC Bank. Being a giant, we are not very much aggressive on the higher end, but definitely a gradual move can be seen on immediate basis. 1480 is the first target, but once it surpasses those zones, then 1520 followed by 1560 should be the target. So from investment point of view, definitely one should start accumulating the share at current levels for a very decent and good returns that can be expected from medium term times.
All right, that's the call coming in on HDFC Bank. Let's talk about Zee Sony, because that's one buzzer in trade today on the back of a very vital news flow, I believe.
Well, yes, the stock is soaring in trade today, nearly 8% higher. And the Zee Sony merger saga continues. We have Economic Times report this morning which says that Zee has re-engaged with Sony Group to revive that $10 billion merger. The report also says that Zee is expected to inform Sony over the next 24 to 48 hours if it is willing to accept the terms and conditions. Representatives of both parties have held meetings, and perhaps some decision is expected to come anytime soon. So on the back of this Economic Times report on the probable revival of this merger, the stock is gaining in trade today, as I mentioned, in fact over 9% higher as we speak.
All right, back to technicals then. Osho, Pidilite Industries is what you have picked out. In the last 6 months, the stock hasn't really done much. What are you penciling in for this particular counter? How should investors play this one?
See, basically all the FMCG counter were under some kind of pressure. They were not performing well in the recent period. But on the technical front, Pidilite has seen a kind of a recovery from the zone of 2500 odd levels, and it's again placed at a very strong resistance of 2750 odd levels. So once it breaches the zone of 2750, then from here onwards, definitely there will be an upside movement of, in short, 250 to 300 odd points. So one should definitely try to keep this counter in their radar or in the watch list. The time it surpasses the zone of 2750, then from there onwards, we can see a very strong upsurge in the coming period for Pidilite.
Those are the levels for Pidilite, but let's talk about Kotak Bank on the fundamentals, because a lot of management rejig has been announced yesterday. Kotak Mahindra Bank has announced significant leadership changes, including the designating whole-time director KVS Manian as the joint MD effective from the 1st of March. In addition, Shanti Ekambaram has been named the deputy managing editor, also effective from the 1st of March. Meanwhile, the bank has said that it has appointed Devang Ghiwala as the CFO and designated him as the president and Group CFO from April. His appointment would be effective after Jaimin Bhatt, who is the incumbent Group President and Group CFO, superannuates on the 31st of March. That apart, Kotak Mahindra Bank has also said that it has appointed Chief Technology Officer Milind Nagnur as the Chief Operating Officer from April as well. So lots of management rejig coming in at the very top level from Kotak Mahindra Bank, and on the back of this news flow, that stock is up 1.5% as we speak.
All right, moving on to the next counter, LTI Mindtree. Now, LTI Mindtree is in focus because it has announced the launch of Navisource.ai. Now, that is a Gen AI-powered autonomous sourcing platform. The platform aims to reduce the overall procurement cost by 10 to 15%. In fact, there was a word coming in by the management that say that Navisource.ai will simplify indirect procurement processes, bringing predictability and free up a lot of time spent on manual activities so that the procurement functions can focus more on the strategic initiatives. And that, on the back of that, LTI Mindtree is in focus today. In fact, we did see a sharp spike in the morning. It was up 0.8%, but it has given up those gains and it's currently trading towards the day's lowest point.
Alright, with that, Osho, let's talk about technicals, and let me talk to you about Nestle. What are the upsides that you are pointing out, if any at all, and what's your view on the charts for Nestle?
See, again, the FMCG counter, as I have mentioned, have started gaining some kind of traction. Coming to Nestle, Nestle have seen a decent correction from the zone of 2750, has consolidated near the 100-day exponential moving average around 2500. But in the last two trading sessions, we are witnessing some kind of buying traction happening in this counter. So from here, current levels, we are expecting that a gradual up move can be seen in this counter for immediate targets of 2650, 2680 kind of a level. And once it breaches those zones, then there will be a strong up move that can be seen for Nestle. So one should definitely try to gauge the momentum in the coming period. And even at current levels, it is at a very strong support zone. So for an investment point of view, or even for a positional buy opportunity, one should definitely try to accumulate this counter.
All right, on that note, it's time for us to take a short break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.